Okay, welcome back everybody. This morning I wanted to just go over a couple of things on sowing seeds for your garden. Pretty simple process in general. You'll need some potting soil. This is a peat-based mix, so peat moss and perlite. Generally, I like to use an 80-20 mix, 80% peat moss, 20% perlite, and you can get this at your local garden center. I would recommend using a professional growing mix, not for general homeowners. There is a difference. If you can find a reputable local nursery that sells a professional mix, that is really important. There are some differences between the quality of just a general potting soil and a professional. So this is 80-20 peat moss and perlite. Perlite adds a little bit of drainage to the media so that water will run through easily, and then your roots don't become waterlogged. So what I like to do also is use this 6-pack container for sowing seeds, and when I fill this, you do a what's called a loose fill process. I don't like to compact that soil in. I like to fill it in nice and loosely and level that off. And just by giving it 1 or 2 tamps there usually indicates to me that if there's no subsidence, that I have a pretty good fill, a loose fill. And then what I also like to do is create a little bit of a depression in that, otherwise known as a dibble, that can then hold the seed in place. And in this case I'm using, these are actually teddy bear sunflowers, and I've already done some germination on this teddy bear sunflower, and the germination looks pretty good for the ones I've done previously. So I'll either sow 1 or 2 seeds per cell, otherwise known as seeds per cavity. So in this case I'm just going to do 1 seed per cavity, so that puts a total of 6 seeds in there. And then I can store these in the refrigerator from year to year and be able to reuse these for next year. So that's a really good thing. I will store this sunflower seed in a Ziploc baggie inside a refrigerator, which is at about 41 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll go ahead and just do another one real quickly. You can either put your tray into your soil container like this, or you can put it on a flat surface and do that tamping. On this second tray I'm going to do some basil seeds. So this is sweet basil, and on basil I generally plant 3 or 4 seeds per cavity, and a lot of times I'll have the seed pre-counted out, and because I sow so few containers, grow about 900 plants each spring for vegetables. Based on the system that I have down below, I can do a tray of 60, so 6 of these will fit into a regular size tray, seedling tray like the one I have here, or the one I have here. I can put 10 of those in individually, and then there's 6 per flat or per tray, and that gives me a total of 60 plants per flat in this 6-pack system. And then on my growing table downstairs I have 4 trays, and 4 shelves, and each shelf can accommodate 4 flats, and so that's 240 plants per shelf. Give me about 900 plants each year, and I grow a combination of lots of different types of plants. I don't plant all of those out into my garden. Some of those are donated, some of those are given away, gifts and things of that sort. And so I continually do this year after year depending on the types of plants. But all of these vegetables, things like this is Thai basil, so this will go out into containers in our garden this year, and we have 3 or 4 containers that will accept all of these Thai basil. We also grow things like chamomile, and go through this exact same process. So I got my seed in there, I got both sunflower and basil What I like to do is make sure I label those flats and then also write the date and the number of seeds. So I did 18 seeds in this flat here, plus today's date is April 13th. Basil, and this is sunflower. And then the last step I do through this process is I like to cover the seed. I use a product called vermiculite, and not all seeds need a covering or a coating, but in this case both of these do. Some seeds like lettuce need light for germination, so you want to make sure not to cover those. Like I say, both of these need cover, and that just creates a little coat, keeps the seed moist, keeps the surface from drying out too quickly, and keeps a little bit of algae growth down as the plants begin to grow. So a nice little coating here of vermiculite. And then the last step is to go ahead and water these in, and really the watering in process is quite critical because you don't want to flush that seed out or kind of make a tidal wave effect with your watering practice. And so having a nice flow, steady stream of water is really important, and then fully saturating those in is really critical as well, so you don't want to get any puddling. So I tend to move over pretty quickly and have a nice fine spray of water. And with that, I would call these two complete. I'll take these down into the germination room. I will use a bit of a covering on these, so I'll put these in a solid bottom container. And then when these need watered, probably in 3 or 4 days, I might need to water them through the germination process. I'll bring that whole tray up out of the growing area or the germination area, and bring these back over to the sink, and then water these in as I've already done those earlier today. So that's the general process. We can grow lots of plants this way, and then I try to time them properly to where I can eventually start moving these out when they're about this size and finish the growing process outdoors as much as I can. And then I do like this size container because I can directly plant these into the ground. I don't have to make another transplanting step, except for a few different types of plants. Like tomatoes, I'll want something a little bit bigger. My perennials, I might want something bigger, but this would be perfect, in my opinion, for going out into the garden. If it's going into a container and I want something bigger, I'll have to grow those up a little bit bigger, but these basil grow really quite quickly and easy to do. So that's the basic process. This is about 4 weeks from germination to plants this size, and I showed the grow lights in another video. So that's the process of sowing the seed into the container, putting a humidity dome on those when I get them down into the grow lights, and then eventually start hardening these off by bringing them outside, making sure always the night temperatures are above 40 degrees as I start to acclimate these for outdoors, and then eventually into full sun. Okay, with that, I'm going to sign off. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.